Welcome back to the Free Trading Game Collection. It has been a large number of weeks since I've managed to get to a boot sale, at least consistently. Last week I managed to get to one, but it was not great. It was one of the first one back, if not the first one back for many, including myself. The weather wasn't great, it was drizzling, and there were loads of buyers compared to sellers, and generally on my Saturday boot sale that tends to happen. This week I binned off the Saturday boot sale, edited and uploaded a video for you instead, went on a ridiculously long run, and then instead on Sunday went to a different boot sale. Now this is actually my preferred boot sale these days. They have a very large area to work with. They have 2 fields in total and loads more room besides, and loads of people turn up to this. Now yes, there are a lot of buyers and the rules really do frustrate me. Buyers are not allowed to turn up till 8 AM, and yet at 7 AM when the sellers turn up, that's when the buyers turn up, and there's no policing of it. I never see any staff bar the ones waving you in. But that's by the by. There are so many more sellers compared to buyers at this boot sale. It's a very nice place, pleasant place to walk around. You don't feel like you're being crowded, you don't get barged into, there's not really that many arguments, and I find so many more things here. So this will probably be, for the foreseeable anyway, the boot sale that I attend every week. Now, last week I found maybe 2 video games, didn't buy anything. This week I bought some stuff, got some bargains, or at least I got one bargain. And did I miss out on some other bargains? In the previous video, at least I hope it was a previous video, I put out a store that I stumbled upon that was selling a load of PC games. Now I won't dwell on this because I made a dedicated video for it. I scanned through a couple of them very quickly with my eyes and decided that I didn't have the time. I didn't want to waste the time going through all these PC games, so I left. The value of what I missed was on screen, and how much it would have cost me is also there. So I don't know that yet because I haven't even calculated. So there is a very strong chance that I missed out on a lot of money there, but it is what it is, I guess. Now, as I mentioned, there were far more video games at this boot sale than there were at my last week's boot sale, which was always nice to see. Some of them I do regret not buying. I didn't have a tremendous amount of cash with me, if I'm honest. So plenty of this sort of thing where there's just crates on the floor full of DVDs, CDs, and video games. I think there was a Halo and a Modern Warfare 3, there was a couple of PlayStation 3 games, loads of Wii games, all shovelware. And then I stumbled on a console and a stack, and I say stack, a mounting of PlayStation 2 games. How much was this one?
35.
Okay, is that just the machine or?
Just the machine, otherwise all of it 60.
Right, okay. I think she wanted 30 quid for the console. Obviously, I would have put the audio in if I managed to record it, but 30 quid for the console, 60 quid if I wanted all the games. Now, I've mentioned this in a video before, of course. I didn't really want to spend the time going through all this, because time is precious in a boot sale. The longer I spend on one stall is time I could be looking through other stalls, and maybe I could have picked up a fair few things. 60 quid could have been a decent price. But do I know the console's working? No, I don't. For all I know, the console could be absolutely knackered, and a broken PlayStation 2 isn't worth an awful lot. You always have to buy on the assumption that these things aren't working. When it comes to video games, it's a bit different. You can eyeball it, you can see, does the disc have scratches? Of course, there are going to be discs that are looking perfectly fine that don't work, but that's a very rare occasion. But with over 30, 40 games here, I wasn't about to sit there and go through every single one of them. In the end, I say in the end, as soon as she said 30 quid, I was about to walk away. 60 for the lot, yeah, it might be okay, but it's not for me. Again, my camera work has gotten a bit sloppy. I'm not sure how much of this you would have been able to see. There was a very small stack of Xbox 360 games on top of a old white 360 console. I don't mess with them at all. I had so many bad experiences with the Red Ring of Death when I actually owned the thing. I will never buy one ever again. This stall had a lot of consoles like this. They weren't in the best looking condition. Some PlayStation 3s look scuffed up, the slim model actually, so it might have been worth me asking, but they had a lot of this type of thing, and from past experience, these type of stalls are either resellers or house clearance. Now, to be fair, they didn't look like house clearance. They didn't have anywhere near the amount of stuff as a house clearance stall would have. I have had very bad experiences and interactions with house clearance people, so I do tend to stay away from them wherever possible. I will buy video games games from them if I can see the condition, but when it comes to electronics, I just don't trust them. Oh yeah mate, definitely working. I've had it working for an hour before I brought it here. I wouldn't sell you anything that wasn't working. And then you take it home, you turn it on, it trips the electric, you sat there in the dark wondering where it all went wrong. So I'm never bothering with house clearance people ever again unless I can see the item actually working, or it's a video game and I can see that it doesn't have scratches, etc. This store, maybe I should have asked how much they wanted for each and individual console or whatever, but I decided against it. Like I said, didn't have that much money with me, so I was more looking for bargains than anything else. I mean, aren't we always looking for bargains? But you know what I mean. I was looking for cheap and cheerful today. Let me show you my first pickup then. This is one that unfortunately I didn't have on camera. This was a really awkward one to film. I started and I was like, no, this is just not going to work. So young couple, and then they've got a box on top of another box, so it's sort of like that high anyway. I film on my phone, right, and I just hang my thumb on my bag and I have my phone like that, and I'm just walking around like that. So it's kind of inconspicuous. No one would really think, oh, he's filming. Doing that over the top of the box, people are going to be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I didn't want to do it, right? So I'm looking through and they had PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 games in there. Now, there wasn't anything spectacular, you know, PlayStation 2 games like GTA, like Vice City, The Getaway, that kind of thing. And then the PlayStation 3 side of things was a lot of Call of Duty, some sports games, and the PlayStation 4 was very much of the same ilk, you know, sports games, NHL, FIFAs, and a couple of very low end, you know, like The Order, 1886, that kind of thing, and a lot of CODs. I asked how much, and she confused ever-loving hell out of me. She said some are 2, some are 3, some are 4. At least that's what I thought she said. I picked up 2 PlayStation 4 games, and I said, well, how much do you want for those? And she said, well, they're PlayStation 4 games. Yeah, how much do you want for them? She said, well, that's £8, because they're £4 each. And then as I bought one and I walked away, my wife said to me, I think she meant the PlayStation 2 games were £2, the PlayStation 3 games were £3, and then the PlayStation 4 games were £4. I think that's what she meant. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, that does make sense. That's why she looked at me stupid, like I couldn't add 4 and 4. But either way, you don't need to hear my troubles. I bought one game. Was it a mistake? I mean, I probably could have got it roughly for the same price on eBay. I mean, it might have cost me a couple of quid more. I don't really collect these on PS4. I collect them on Xbox One, but when I saw it, I had to buy it without looking it up. It is a steelbook of, well, can you guess what this is a steelbook of? Well, if you couldn't guess, it's Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I already own this on the Xbox One, so why do I need it on the PS4? I'm not massively into double dipping unless it's a game I can really see me playing in many places at different times. And I said I will definitely double dip if there's a game on the PS5 that I want and I want it on the Switch, for example. Makes sense to do it. But when it comes to this, I don't really see me playing this on the PS4 and on the Xbox One, but because it was a steelbook, it just intrigued me. There it is on the inside, some decent looking artwork. The disc is in very good condition, so props to them for keeping it nice. And the back, of course, is looking pretty good. There's no dents on this thing. It is actually really good. Cost me £4 in total, if that wasn't evident from my little thing at the beginning. No slip cover or anything, literally just the steelbook. My thought process behind this was, I've done well off steelbooks recently, and this could potentially be worth money. Now, 9 times out of 10, Call of Duty steelbooks are not really going to be worth that much. Modern Warfare 2 on the 360 is worth a little bit if you have the art book and the slip cover. And for all I know, there's another Call of Duty out there that's worth a little bit. I took a chance on this for £4. I don't regret buying it, even though you can get it for like 6 or 7 on eBay probably. I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to look to sell it. I might as well keep it. It'll look decent on the shelf. Now that we have got rid of that PlayStation 2, it's looking maybe a little bit bare. So yeah, I can put this on the shelf and maybe use it just as a display piece because I have it on the Xbox One. That's where I'll want to play it probably. So my first purchase there, and then back into the boot sale we go to what is one of the most ridiculous asking prices for a video game I think I've ever seen. This is Black Ops 2 on the Xbox 360. Now this thing has shot up in price recently, £18 in CEX. I think they fixed the servers, more people are playing it now. But the problem with this version of the game, it was cracked on like 5 different sides. The whole thing was, if I took it out of there, it would have fallen apart, I guarantee it. It would just crumbled into pieces. And they wanted £10. Yeah, it was cracked to all hell and back and they wanted £10. Now, I'm not saying that someone out there would have bought that because it was obvious. If you just open it, the case was in poor condition, the disc was terrible. All you had to do was look at it from a distance and you'd be able to see that this thing was in very bad shape. Without even taking it out and looking, I dread to think I didn't, because I didn't want to break it and then them accuse me of breaking it, right? I could see that it was broken. But for them to be saying 10 quid for this, can you imagine? Some kid runs up there, sees this, gets really excited, no parents with him, buys it for a tenner. Don't know why a kid would run around with 10 quid on him, but he does. And then, you know, goes home and puts it in the console and it all just completely explodes, falls apart, and there's shards of disc everywhere. Something, you know, it might happen, you never know. And they had to have known that this thing was knackered. Anyway, I didn't buy it, obviously, and I moved on. On to another stall with a little container at the front with some video games in. Now, a lot of DVDs mixed in here, but there were some video games. Viva Pinata, the most notable, really. I would have bought it. If the stall owner had said, look, 50p, pound, yeah, why not? I would have picked it up, something to put into the collection, something that I probably will look to put into the collection at some point. I think that was the only 360 game there. There might have been one other one, maybe Halo or something I wasn't interested in. Quite a few PS2 games, loads of shovelware on the Wii. I walked away and then I decided, do you know what? I'll go back and I'll ask, why not? Let's just pick this up, put it into the collection. How much? £3, which, you know, doesn't sound like a lot, but CEX are cheaper. So why would I buy it from you when I can get it from CEX for less? I mean, I think it's like 2 quid in CEX or 2.50 or something. Either way, I didn't film this next stall, but I'll show you another stall that had loads of video games. This guy was a proper reseller, so he was like asking, you know, market value for his games. There was another stall that I didn't record because it caught me off guard. It was right on the end and it just didn't look like it had video games. And then there was a small, like, I don't know, I could see a case out of the corner of my eye, and I sort of moved a bunch of plushes out of the way, and yes, there was a stack of video games there, but they were selling it all like rubber banded. They were selling it all in one. It was 10 quid for the stack, and there was loads of DVDs mixed in there, but on the top it said games £10. I'm assuming it meant the stack was £10, and in hindsight I really should have bought this. No Man's Sky on the Xbox One, and a few other Xbox One games in there, as well as some random DVDs. But for 10 quid, looking back at it, there was definitely value there, and I could have bought them and sold them on and probably doubled my money, or traded 2 of them in to get the credit back in what I'd spent, and then put the rest into the collection and just bin the DVDs or something. Anyway, then we come to my next pickup, and something that I'm very grateful to have found. I bought a PlayStation 3 a long time ago. I think I got it in a boot sale for a tenner. Previous to that as well, actually, I got another one for a tenner. Ended up selling it and then got this one. Now, I don't have a controller for it. I've been using my my Berry Blue, I think it's called, PlayStation 4 controller if I want to play any games on it, but it has to be wired, which is not too convenient, if I'm honest. So I've been on the lookout for a PlayStation 3 controller for a long time. These things can run some very good money. On eBay, you can probably find one in semi-working, decent cosmetic condition, I guess, for around, I don't know, £18 to £20 if you're looking for an official one. Some of them do have like damage to thumbsticks, some of them are not in the best cosmetic condition, and of course you are susceptible to things like stick drift, etc. On Vinted, for some reason, these things go for a hell of a lot more than they do on eBay. I've been looking at a few recently and I've been sending out offers, no one's accepting them, and I think 20 plus is the cheapest you can get one on Vinted, which is crazy. Normally Vinted is the car boot sale of the internet. It's a lot cheaper than eBay, but for some reason PS3 controllers, they're not that cheap on there. CEX sell them for about 22, I think. So it was a bit of a surprise to me when I found one in a boot sale. It was on top of a PlayStation 4 with an unofficial PlayStation 4 controller and an Xbox 360 controller, as well as a few other bits and bobs thrown about. If the clip has audio and you can actually understand what's going on, I'll throw it in here. How much did you want for that one?
£3.
Right, okay.
That's to go with that one. That's to go with the Xbox.
How much is this?
£70.
Right, okay, no worries. Right, I'll do 3 on that. She wanted just £3 for this PlayStation 3 controller. There was absolutely no way I was going to walk away from that, whether this thing is working or not. £3 is probably safe. And I walked away with it, and here it is. We'll talk about this in just a second, because this was not plain sailing. However, the console itself was £70. Now, that is not a terrible price if you're looking to buy one to keep. If you're looking to buy one to sell, you'd want that at around £40. 45, 50 at most, in my opinion, so that you can look to sell it for, I don't know, 80-ish, maybe a touch more. But the problem with the original PlayStation 4s, in my experience anyway, is that the disc trays are very unreliable. Over time, they do give out, and a lot of them you'll see when selling on eBay. If you go and search for one right now, pause the video, go search for one right now, you'll see that most of them that have problems that have been sold for parts have disc tray issues. So without knowing if this thing works, me shooting an offer of 50 quid was pointless. How much do these sell for broken? I don't know, I'd have to look it up, and of course that's the price I'm willing to pay, because then you know that your money's safe for the most part. Regardless, I left it and I walked away with this for 3 quid. So we've spent £7 today. We picked up Black Ops Steelbook, which you've already seen, of course, there, that'll go into the collection. And then I have this. Now I do need this, I do need it. However, I could sell it quite easily and make my money back. The question is, of course, does it work? Well, I plugged it in and no. It connects connects fine, wirelessly and wired. It had battery in it when I picked it up and I pressed the PlayStation button. I won't do it now because it'll turn the PlayStation on. But when I pressed it, it all lit up and everything. It was fine. But then when I got it home and I plugged it in and I was on the PlayStation menu, it had unbelievably bad stick drift. This thing was just constantly going up in the menu, and it was trying to press X a lot as well. So it was trying to sign in to the PSN all the time. I couldn't stop it, couldn't move it off it. Anyway, my PlayStation isn't connected to PSN, so it couldn't actually do it. So I would manage to like press circle, go back, and then it would just go straight back into it again. So I knew I had to open this up. Now I do kind of wish I'd filmed it just to show you, but I opened it up, which was very easy. I've never actually opened a PS3 controller before. I've opened many PlayStation 4 and Xbox controllers, but never one of these. Quite simple, really. I thought I was going to have problems with the triggers, but no, they were fine. And I just went over it with a toothbrush and isopropyl, and I just scrubbed the ever-loving crap out of everything. Realigned the connector where you get a ribbon and it has pins on it, and they need to connect on the inside for the buttons to work. So cleaned them up again, toothbrush and isopropyl, and then lined them up properly. And the thing with stick drift you'll find with the majority of controllers, not just PlayStation 3, any controller that I've ever had stick drift on, you can improve it. You might not fix it, you might fix it, but you may not fix it completely, but you'll definitely improve it if you just get a toothbrush with some isopropyl alcohol and just scrub in the take the grips off it, obviously, and just move everything around in there. Scrub it all, wiggle it all around, maybe do it twice just in case, put it all back together, and this thing is now trade worthy, would you believe? There's no stick drift on this whatsoever. All the buttons are functioning, and I played Need for Speed Shift for quite a while. I hadn't actually played too much of this game before I went to test the controller. Ended up playing like an hour and 20 minutes. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to test the controller for like 10 minutes. And I was sat there for over an hour. It was a really fun experience on a very small CRT using a HD capable machine, playing this game, which looks brilliant if you connect it to a big TV, and yeah, playing it on a very small CRT. But I just thoroughly enjoyed myself. So for now, I'm going to keep this, and it puts us even more in a minus for the series. I was maybe thinking of selling it, because if I do sell this, it would then put us even, if not in the plus for the series. But what I'm going to do for the time being anyway is I'm going to keep it, going to make a note of it, and then in the future, if I do sell it, we can then take it off what is in the collection and add it onto the profit, right? Makes sense? But for now, that's staying. But for 3 quid, I mean, I was chuffed when she said 3 quid, even if it was broken. It's been so long since I've seen one of these in the wild. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen one of these in a boot sale. So yeah, very happy to pick that up. Plenty of other video games I could have bought in that boot sale, and regrettably didn't have enough money really on me to be sort of taking the plunge, if you will. But next week is another week, so stay tuned for that one. I'm going to be making moves on this very soon. This has now been listed. Hopefully it's sold by the time you're watching this, and I will go into the pawn shop and see if they still have that 1X. They had it over the weekend. I'll also have another video this week where we go in and try and find some bargains in CEX, maybe try and make some profit from them, as well as a few other charity shops to look around. And of course, the boot sale upcoming this week, I will be sure to take some more money with me so that we can be buying all these games. I really want some credit for CEX. There's a fair few 360 games that have been traded in recently to my local that I would love to pick up. One of them has been traded in and gone since I've had the credit, unfortunately. unfortunately, so I wasn't able to get that, but hopefully another one gets traded in soon because I've really got an urge to play it. And I'll let you know what that game is in the next episode. Feel free to let me know what you think it is in the comments. If you want to check out another video from me where we do have credit, you can click here, and until the next time, goodbye.